Do not skip this. If you are hearing these words, heaven has interrupted your scrolling for a reason. Beloved soul, pause for a moment. I am Archangel Michael, and I speak to you now, not by accident, not by chance, but by divine appointment. You did not find this message. It found you. Something within your spirit has been calling for clarity, for strength, for reassurance, and heaven has answered. Before you move away, before doubt pulls you back into noise, stay with me. What you are about to hear may be the very message you prayed for in silence. Take a slow breath now. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heart soften. You have entered a sacred space, a moment where the world grows quieter and divine guidance becomes clear. You are safe here. You are seen here. You are loved here. Beloved, I know the weight you have been carrying. I know the thoughts that keep you awake at night, the questions you replay over and over, wondering when things will finally change. You have asked, why has this been so hard? You have wondered, did I miss my moment? And sometimes you feared that heaven had gone silent. But hear me clearly now. Heaven never left you. There were battles you fought that no one applauded, decisions you made while afraid, strength you summoned when you felt empty, and every single one of those moments was witnessed. Angels stood beside you when you thought you were alone. Protection surrounded you even when danger was near. The reason you are still standing today is not luck. It is divine intervention. This moment is a turning point. Not because everything changes instantly, but because you remember who you are. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are a child of divine light, walking through a human journey that is shaping your soul for something greater. Beloved, the reason this message feels urgent is because your season is shifting. What once drained you will soon release you. What once blocked you will soon move. What once confused you will soon make sense. But first, heaven needed your attention. That is why this moment stopped you. You have been living in survival mode for too long, holding yourself together, staying strong for others, pushing forward without rest. Heaven sees this and says, enough. You were not created merely to survive. You were created to live with peace, clarity, and purpose. Let me remind you of a truth your fear tried to hide. You are divinely protected. No weapon formed against your destiny will succeed. No delay has canceled your calling. No mistake has disqualified you. Divine timing is correcting what fear tried to rush and what pain tried to distort. Beloved, when you feel tired, that is not failure. It is a signal that transformation is near. Before breakthrough comes release. Before clarity comes confusion. Before elevation comes pressure. And you, yes you, are standing right at that edge. I ask you now to place one hand over your heart. Feel your heartbeat. That rhythm is not random. It is life flowing through you, guided by the same power that moves oceans and stars. That power has never left you. It has been waiting for you to remember it. Say these words quietly or aloud. I am guided. I am protected. I am not alone. The moment you affirm this, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. Fear loosens its grip. Doubt quiets. Faith rises again, not as a shout, but as a calm, knowing deep within your soul. Beloved, this message is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up. Something new is approaching your life, and heaven wants you ready, not afraid. Ready to release what no longer serves you. Ready to receive what you once thought impossible. Ready to trust again. I stand with you now. My shield surrounds you. My sword cuts through confusion and false belief. Nothing that belongs to you will miss you. Nothing meant to harm you will reach you. Walk forward from this moment with confidence, not because life is perfect, but because you are divinely backed. Stay with me, beloved. This is only the beginning. If you've felt invisible, abandoned, or overlooked lately, do not leave. This message is proof that heaven never forgot you. Beloved soul, I speak to you now with truth and clarity. There were moments you felt unseen, moments when your efforts went unnoticed, when your pain was misunderstood, when your prayers seemed to echo into silence. You wondered if anyone truly knew what you were carrying. You questioned whether heaven still remembered your name. Hear me clearly now. You were never forgotten, not for a single moment. Heaven does not forget its children. Not when you are strong, and not when you are exhausted. Not when you are faithful, and not when you are doubting. Even when you turned inward, unsure how to pray, the angels understood the language of your heart. Every tear you cried carried meaning. Every sigh carried weight. Nothing about your journey has been overlooked. There were seasons when you gave more than you received. Times when you stood for others while no one stood for you. You held yourself together in silence because you did not want to burden anyone. You told yourself to be strong, even when you were breaking inside. Beloved, heaven saw all of it. The strength you showed when no one was watching was recorded. The love you gave when you had little left was honored. You may have thought that because things did not change quickly, your prayers were ignored. But divine response does not always arrive as immediate relief. Sometimes it arrives as quiet protection. Sometimes it arrives as delayed harm. Sometimes it arrives as strength you did not know you had. There were dangers you never saw because angels redirected them. There were losses that did not happen because heaven intervened. You survived things that should have crushed you, not by chance, but by divine care. Beloved, when people failed to see you, heaven stepped closer. When doors closed without explanation, it was not rejection. It was redirection. Some paths were blocked because they would have drained you. Some connections faded because they would have delayed your growth. Heaven does not remove things to punish you. Heaven removes things to protect your destiny. I know the loneliness you felt was heavy. I know the nights when silence felt louder than noise. But listen to me now. Loneliness was not abandonment. It was a sacred space where your spirit was being strengthened. It was in those quiet moments that your soul learned to stand without leaning on what couldn't support you. Heaven was preparing you to walk into the next season stronger, clearer, and less dependent on what could fail you. Beloved, you were not forgotten. You were being refined. Think of gold placed into fire. To the outside world, it looks like destruction. But inside the fire, impurities are removed, and the gold becomes purer. That is what has been happening to you. The fire did not destroy you. It revealed you. It stripped away false identities, unhealthy attachments, and limiting beliefs. What remains is truth, strength, and divine alignment. There were moments when you doubted yourself, when you questioned your worth, when you replayed past mistakes and wondered if they disqualified you from blessings. But heaven does not see you through the lens of your past. Heaven sees your heart. Heaven sees your intention. Heaven sees your willingness to rise again. That is why you are still being guided forward. Beloved, let me say this gently but firmly. Delay is not neglect. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it will not happen. Divine timing is not bound by your fear or impatience. What is meant for you is being protected until the right moment arrives. Some blessings must wait until you are strong enough to hold them without losing yourself. There are things approaching your life now that would not have survived the old version of you. That is why the waiting felt long. That is why the silence felt heavy. Heaven was strengthening you so that when the door opens, you walk through it with wisdom instead of desperation. Place your hand over your heart again, beloved. Feel that quiet steadiness. That is not emptiness. That is readiness. Say this now, even if your voice trembles. I was never forgotten. I am still chosen. I am still guided. The moment you accept this truth, shame loosens, regret softens, fear loses its voice. You stop fighting yourself, and you begin walking with yourself again. Beloved, heaven is closer now than it has ever been. The season of invisibility is ending. The season of remembrance is beginning. Not remembrance by others, but remembrance by you. You are remembering your value. You are remembering your strength. You are remembering that you were never meant to disappear. I, Archangel Michael, stand beside you now. My presence is steady, protective, unwavering. When doubt whispers that you have been overlooked, let my voice rise louder. You are seen, you are held, and you are divinely supported. Stay with me, beloved. What comes next will require clarity, courage, and trust. And you are ready. Beloved soul, I speak to you now from the stillness beyond fear. I am Archangel Michael, and I tell you this with certainty. The storm you walked through wasn't meaningless. It was not random. It wasn't punishment. It was a refining fire, and you were never meant to remain the same after it. What tried to break you instead revealed what cannot be broken. You remember the moments when everything felt heavy, when progress slowed, when answers disappeared, when you questioned whether you had the strength to continue. Those moments were not signs of weakness. They were signs that transformation had begun. Storms do not come to destroy what is strong. They come to expose what is real. Beloved, you did not fall apart. You were stripped down to truth. Everything that could not survive the next level of your life was shaken loose. Attachments that drained you, expectations that trapped you, beliefs that limited you. The storm came to clear your path, not to end your journey. You may have asked, why me? But heaven asked a different question. Who else could carry this and still rise? The weight you carried was not given to everyone. It was entrusted to you because your spirit had the capacity to endure it without losing its light. That does not mean it was easy. It means you were capable. I know there were moments when you felt exposed, when you felt like the ground beneath you disappeared, when control slipped from your hands. But hear this truth now. Control had to leave so trust could be born. Faith does not grow in certainty. Faith grows in surrender. The storm removed the illusion that you were alone. It forced you inward, where divine strength was waiting. It revealed the quiet power of your spirit, the part of you that kept breathing, kept moving, kept hoping, even when you had no proof that things would improve. That endurance is sacred. Beloved, storms are teachers. They show you what truly matters. They separate noise from truth. They strip away what you used to lean on so you could discover what holds you up from within. And now, you stand changed. Not hardened, but clarified. Not broken, but aware. There are lessons you learned that no comfort could have taught you. Compassion, discernment, boundaries, self-respect, wisdom. You no longer chase what once distracted you. You no longer beg for what once ignored you. You no longer tolerate what once wounded you. This is growth. This is elevation. I know you still carry questions. I know part of you wonders if the damage will ever fully heal. But listen closely. Nothing that truly belongs to you was lost. What fell away was never meant to follow you forward. Heaven does not remove what you need. It removes what would eventually harm you. Beloved, the storm changed how you see the world, but it also changed how you see yourself. You now know you can survive uncertainty. You now know you can walk alone and still remain whole. You now know that your strength does not come from circumstances. It comes from alignment with truth. There were moments you stood at the edge of giving up, when continuing felt pointless, when silence felt cruel. But even then, something within you refused to quit. That was not stubbornness. That was divine fire. That was your soul recognizing that your story was not finished. Heaven watched closely as you chose to keep going without guarantees. That choice mattered. Faith is not believing when everything is clear. Faith is standing when everything is unclear and still choosing to trust. That kind of faith reshapes destiny. Beloved, the storm also taught you something about others. You learned who could walk with you in darkness and who could only stand with you in light. This knowledge was painful, but it was necessary. Not everyone is meant to go where you are going. Some are only meant to teach you discernment. Do not grieve what could not follow you forward. Release it with gratitude. Every ending created space. Every loss made room. Every breakdown prepared you for a breakthrough that requires clarity, not confusion. I want you to understand something important. You did not survive the storm by accident. You survived because heaven shielded you when you were too tired to protect yourself. There were moments you were preserved without knowing why. Paths redirected without explanation. Outcomes softened without warning. That was divine intervention. Now, the storm has passed. You may still feel the aftershocks, but the destruction phase is over. What comes next is rebuilding. Not what was, but what should have been all along. Stronger foundations, clearer boundaries, deeper faith, truer alignment. Beloved, you are no longer who you were before the storm, and that is a blessing. You see more clearly now. You trust more carefully. You value peace over approval. You listen to your intuition. These are not scars. These are markings of wisdom. Say this now, slowly and intentionally. The storm did not defeat me. It prepared me. I rise stronger, wiser, and aligned. As you speak this, feel your spine straighten. Feel your breath deepen. Feel the quiet confidence returning to your spirit. You are no longer in survival mode. You are stepping into stability. The storm had a purpose, and that purpose has been fulfilled. What remains now is forward movement, guided, protected, and intentional. You are not behind. You are not damaged. You are positioned. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as you step into the calm after the storm. My sword clears the last remnants of fear. My shield guards your peace. What approaches your life next will recognize your strength and respect your boundaries. Stay with me, beloved. The next phase will require trust, but not the kind born from desperation. The kind born from knowing who you are. This is not the end of your story. This is the moment your power becomes visible. Beloved soul, I speak to you now with clarity that cuts through confusion. I am Archangel Michael, and I tell you this truth plainly. Nothing in your life is late. Nothing has been missed. Nothing has slipped past you that was meant to stay. What you call delay is not absence. It is alignment. You live in a world that measures worth by speed and success by urgency. You were taught that if something does not happen quickly, it is failing. But heaven does not move by clocks or calendars. Heaven moves by readiness. Divine timing is not about when you want something. It is about when all pieces are prepared to meet without breaking you. Beloved, I know the waiting has tested you. You have asked why doors remained closed when you felt ready. You questioned why progress felt slow when your heart was desperate for movement. You wondered if patience was costing you your future. But hear me now. Patience was protecting you. Some things could not come earlier because you would have been required to shrink yourself to keep them. Some blessings needed you stronger, clearer, and less afraid before they could arrive without damage. Heaven does not rush what must last. What you do not see is the unseen movement. While you waited, people were being repositioned. Circumstances were shifting. Paths were closing quietly so better ones could open. Timing was being refined so that when the moment arrives, it arrives with stability, not chaos. Beloved, divine timing is not passive. It is active preparation. It is heaven removing obstacles you never noticed. It is angels holding back what would have overwhelmed you. It is protection disguised as pause. You were not being denied. You were being prepared. There were moments you tried to force clarity, to make decisions before peace arrived, to move ahead without confirmation. But each time, something stopped you. That was not resistance. That was intervention. Heaven blocks what would lead you into unnecessary struggle. Understand this truth deeply. What is meant for you cannot pass you by. If it appears to pass, then it was never yours to carry forward. Divine alignment does not require chasing. It requires trust. The seed does not command the soil to hurry. It rests, it grows, it strengthens unseen. When the season comes, it rises effortlessly. So it is with you. Your roots have been growing. Your structure has been forming. What comes next will not require force. Beloved, impatience is often fear in disguise. Fear that time is running out. Fear that others are moving ahead. Fear that waiting means losing. But divine timing does not compete. It completes. You are not behind anyone. You are not racing anyone. Your path is unique, and it unfolds according to purpose, not comparison. Release the pressure you have placed on yourself. You were never meant to carry urgency as a burden. Urgency drains clarity. Trust restores it. Say these words now, slowly. I release urgency. I trust alignment. I allow divine timing to work for me. As you speak this, feel tension ease from your chest. Feel your breath slow. This calm is not surrender to stagnation. It is surrender to wisdom. Beloved, when the timing is right, things will move quickly. Doors that resisted will open easily. Conversations that felt impossible will flow naturally. Opportunities will align without strain. That is how you will know, when it no longer feels forced. Divine timing feels peaceful, even when it is powerful. There were lessons you needed before certain blessings could arrive. Lessons of discernment, lessons of boundaries, lessons of self-respect. If those blessings had come earlier, you might have lost yourself trying to keep them. Heaven values you more than your desires. What is forming now will meet the version of you who is ready to receive without fear, without desperation, without compromise. Beloved, do not mistake stillness for stagnation. The deepest shifts happen in silence. The universe does not announce its preparations. It simply aligns. Every time you chose patience over panic, alignment strengthened. Every time you trusted instead of forcing, the path cleared further. Every time you rested instead of chasing, divine order increased. This season is not about speed. It is about precision. I want you to remember moments in your life when things happened at exactly the right time. When looking back, you realized why something could not come sooner. This is the same process unfolding now, even if you cannot yet see the outcome. The Creator has never been confused about your future. Heaven has never questioned your direction. Angels are not scrambling. Everything is unfolding in correct sequence. Beloved, trust is not passive hope. Trust is active alignment. It is choosing peace while movement is unseen. It is standing firm while pieces are still being assembled. You are being positioned for sustainability, not temporary success. For peace, not pressure. For clarity, not confusion. This alignment is removing what cannot go where you are going. That is why some connections faded. That is why certain plans dissolved. That is why old identities no longer fit. You are being refined for longevity. Do not try to return to what has already released you. Do not grieve what could not stay. Gratitude will move you forward faster than resistance ever could. Beloved, your timing is not broken. Your life is not off track. You are not late. You are not early. You are precisely where divine order requires you to be. Place your hand over your heart again and feel the steadiness there. That steadiness is alignment. That quiet certainty is confirmation. Say this aloud now. I trust divine timing. I trust the process. I trust that what is meant for me is arriving in perfect order. As you accept this truth, the internal struggle eases. You stop fighting the moment. You start flowing with it. What comes next will not require rushing. It will require readiness. And you are becoming ready. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as timing aligns. My presence guards you from impatience. My sword removes confusion. My shield protects your peace. Stay steady, beloved. The alignment you have been waiting for is no longer forming. It is approaching. Do not underestimate yourself. The strength you carry has already overcome more than you remember. Beloved soul, I speak to you now with certainty and truth. I am Archangel Michael, and I tell you this clearly. You are far stronger than you believe. The strength within you was not created by comfort. It was forged through endurance, shaped by challenge, and awakened through moments when giving up would have been easier. Yet you didn't give up. You are here. That alone speaks volumes about who you truly are. You often measure strength by what is visible: confidence, certainty, control. But heaven measures strength differently. Strength is choosing to continue when clarity is absent. Strength is remaining kind when bitterness would feel justified. Strength is standing back up quietly after falling, without applause, without recognition. That is the strength you carry, and it is sacred. Beloved, there were times you thought you were barely surviving, when in truth, you were becoming resilient. You told yourself you were weak because you felt pain. But pain is not weakness. Pain is awareness. Pain is the signal that something meaningful is being reshaped. The soul that feels deeply also carries the greatest capacity to rise. You survived moments that should have ended you, situations that drained your energy, relationships that tested your self-worth, seasons where you felt lost and still kept moving. These were not coincidences. These were confirmations. Heaven allowed you to see your own endurance, so that one day you would stop doubting your capability. You did not survive because circumstances were easy. You survived because divine strength flowed through you, even when you were unaware of it. When you had no words to pray, your breath became prayer. When your faith felt small, your persistence carried you forward. When your mind was exhausted, your spirit took over. Beloved, your strength is not loud. It is steady. It does not demand attention. It simply remains. That kind of strength cannot be broken by pressure. It bends, adapts, and endures. You have learned how to stand without leaning on what once supported you. You have learned how to make decisions without approval. You have learned how to trust yourself again after disappointment tried to silence you. These are not small achievements. These are signs of spiritual authority awakening within you. I know you still question yourself at times. You replay conversations. You wonder if you are doing enough, being enough, choosing correctly. But hear me clearly now. Self-doubt does not mean you lack strength. It means you are stepping into greater responsibility. The mind hesitates when the soul is expanding. Beloved, there is a warrior spirit within you. Not one driven by anger or conflict, but one grounded in truth and calm confidence. You do not fight for dominance. You stand for alignment. You do not force outcomes. You protect your peace. This is the mark of true power. I want you to understand something important. Strength does not mean never needing help. Strength means knowing when to ask. Every time you whispered a prayer instead of collapsing, you chose strength. Every time you asked for guidance instead of surrendering to fear, you stepped into authority. You are not meant to carry everything alone. Even the strongest warrior walks with allies. That is why angels stand beside you. That is why divine protection surrounds you. Strength does not isolate. Strength aligns. Beloved, stop comparing your journey to others. Their path does not measure yours. You have endured things others never had to face. You have grown in ways others cannot yet understand. Your timeline reflects preparation, not delay. There is a reason you did not break when pressure increased. There is a reason you remained grounded when chaos surrounded you. There is a reason you can still feel compassion even after being hurt. That reason is divine strength within you. Place your hand over your heart now. Feel the steadiness there. That is not weakness. That is resilience. That is the core of who you are. Say these words now, slowly and with intention. I am stronger than I believed. I trust the strength within me. I am supported by divine power. As you speak this, notice how your posture changes, how your breath deepens, how your mind quiets. This is alignment with truth. Beloved, strength also means discernment. You no longer pour energy into what drains you. You no longer chase what does not choose you. You no longer tolerate what costs you your peace. These boundaries are not walls. They are wisdom. You are learning to say no without guilt, and yes, without fear. You are learning that rest is not failure, and patience is not weakness. You are learning to move forward without abandoning yourself. This is mastery. There will still be challenges ahead. Strength does not remove them. But now, you will meet them differently. You will not panic as quickly. You will not collapse as deeply. You will not doubt as long. Because you know now what you are capable of. Heaven trusts you with more, because you have proven faithful with less. Not faithful in perfection, but faithful in persistence. You kept showing up. You kept choosing growth. You kept listening when your spirit nudged you forward. Beloved, the version of you that doubted their strength is fading. A new awareness is emerging, calm, grounded, unshakable. This awareness does not need validation. It simply knows. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as you step fully into this truth. My presence reinforces your courage. My sword cuts through lingering self-doubt. My shield protects your confidence from external noise. You are not becoming strong. You are strong. You always have been. What lies ahead will require this strength, not to survive, but to lead. to guide, to influence, to uplift others simply by being who you are. Stay grounded, beloved. Your strength is no longer hidden. It is ready to be used with wisdom. Before you move forward, you must release what has been weighing on your soul. Stay. This moment is your renewal. Beloved soul, come to stillness now. I am Archangel Michael, and I stand with you in this sacred pause. You have carried much longer than you were meant to. You have held together pieces that should have been laid down. You have endured quietly, believing strength meant silence. But strength also means knowing when to release. This moment is not about doing more. It is about letting go. Take a slow breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. With that breath, imagine light entering your body. Soft, calm, steady. With the next breath, imagine every weight leaving you. The worry, the regret, the exhaustion, the fear you learned to live with. You no longer need to carry these things forward. Beloved, some burdens were never yours. They were handed to you by expectations, by responsibilities you did not choose, by guilt that was taught rather than earned. Heaven does not ask you to suffer to be worthy. Heaven asks you to be honest, present, and open. And right now, honesty means admitting you are tired. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. There is a quiet exhaustion that comes from being strong for too long, from staying composed while your heart aches, from holding faith while answers delay, from smiling while healing. Heaven sees this exhaustion and does not judge it. Heaven responds with compassion. Beloved, you do not need to relive what hurt you to release it. You do not need to understand everything to heal. Release begins with permission. Permission to rest. Permission to forgive yourself. Permission to stop proving your strength. Place your hand over your heart now. Feel its rhythm. That rhythm is life, and life was never meant to be lived under constant pressure. Speak these words gently, either aloud or within your heart. I release what no longer serves me. I allow myself to rest. I open myself to renewal. As you speak this, imagine a weight lifting from your chest. Imagine old energy loosening its grip. Imagine the space within you opening again. Beloved, renewal does not come by force. It comes by allowing. Just as night gives way to morning without struggle, your healing unfolds naturally when resistance ends. You do not need to chase peace. Peace arrives when you stop fighting the moment. There are emotions you buried because you did not feel safe expressing them. There are disappointments you minimized because you believed others had it worse. There are needs you ignored because you didn't want to appear weak. But heaven does not ask you to minimize yourself. Heaven asks you to be whole. I want you to imagine now a gentle stream of light flowing over you. It begins at the top of your head and moves slowly downward. Wherever it flows, tension dissolves. Your mind grows quiet. Your shoulders soften. Your breath deepens. This is not imagination alone. This is alignment. Beloved, renewal often feels subtle. It does not arrive with fireworks. It arrives with relief, with the quiet realization that you can breathe again, that the weight is lighter, that hope feels possible. You may still have questions. You may still have uncertainty, but you will no longer feel crushed by them. Renewal does not erase challenges. It restores your capacity to face them with clarity instead of fear. Now listen carefully, beloved. I will speak a blessing over you. Let these words pass through you slowly. May the weight you carried be lifted. May the fear you absorbed be released. May the doubt that followed you lose its voice. May the peace you longed for return gently and fully. May your body be restored with strength. May your mind be calmed with clarity. May your heart be filled with assurance. May your spirit remember its light. Beloved, you are allowed to begin again without shame. You are allowed to change direction without apology. You are allowed to choose peace without explanation. Heaven does not hold your past against you. Heaven honors your willingness to grow. There were moments you stayed longer than you should have. Moments you gave more than was returned. Moments you doubted yourself instead of trusting your inner knowing. These were lessons, not failures. And lessons are released once learned. Renewal is not becoming someone else. It is returning to yourself. The version of you that emerges now is calmer, clearer, and less willing to abandon their own peace. This version does not rush, does not beg, does not shrink. This version listens before reacting and chooses alignment over approval. Beloved, as you renew, you will notice subtle changes. You will feel less reactive, less drained by others' emotions, less afraid of silence. These are signs that your energy is stabilizing, that you are no longer leaking strength into places that cannot hold it. There is nothing wrong with you for needing rest. Even warriors lay down their armor. Even angels pause in stillness. Renewal is part of the cycle, not a break from it. I ask you now to forgive yourself for what you did not know before you learned it. Forgive yourself for surviving the only way you knew how. Forgive yourself for staying too long, trusting too much, or doubting too deeply. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is freeing yourself from carrying unnecessary weight. Say this now, slowly. I forgive myself. I release the past. I step forward renewed. As you affirm this, feel the calm deepen. Feel your energy return to balance. Beloved, you are not starting over from nothing. You are starting again with wisdom, with clarity, with strength refined by experience. Renewal does not erase your journey. It redeems it. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as renewal settles into your spirit. My presence seals this moment. My shield protects your peace. My sword clears what remains of fear and confusion. You are not who you were when this journey began. You are lighter now, stronger, more aligned. Rest here for a moment longer, beloved. Let this renewal complete itself. Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be fixed. Simply receive. Do not turn away now. What you choose after this moment will shape what comes next. Beloved soul, we arrive now at the threshold. Everything you have heard until this moment was not meant to comfort you alone. It was meant to prepare you. I am Archangel Michael, and I speak to you now not as reassurance only, but as calling. The time for remembering has passed. The time for stepping forward has arrived. You did not endure what you endured merely to return to who you were. You did not survive storms, silence, delay, and doubt to remain hidden. You were shaped so that you could stand. You were refined so that you could carry light without fear. You were strengthened so that you could walk forward with clarity instead of hesitation. Beloved, there is a difference between healing and awakening. Healing restores what was wounded. Awakening activates what was dormant. You have healed enough to move. Now you are being awakened to purpose. I know you still feel uncertainty. I know part of you wonders if you are ready. But readiness does not arrive as confidence. It arrives as willingness. Willingness to take the next step, even when the full path is not visible. Willingness to trust yourself again. Willingness to shine without waiting for permission. This is where many hesitate. This is where fear whispers, stay small, stay quiet, stay safe. But safety is not found in shrinking. Safety is found in alignment. When you walk in truth, Protection surrounds you naturally. Beloved, you were not created to blend into the background of your own life. You were created to be present, to be felt, to be light in spaces that forgot how to see. This does not mean you must be loud. It means you must be real. Your presence alone carries influence. Your calm shifts rooms. Your words land with weight because they come from experience. Your silence holds wisdom. This is not accidental. This is the result of what you walked through. You may not see yourself as a leader, but leadership is not position. It is stability. It is walking without chaos. It is choosing integrity when shortcuts appear. It is holding peace while others panic. This is leadership of spirit, and it is rare. Beloved, you are being called now to live from truth instead of reaction, from faith instead of fear, from clarity instead of urgency. This does not mean life will stop challenging you. It means challenges will no longer define you. The days ahead will test your consistency, not your worth. You will be asked to trust what you now know instead of returning to what you once tolerated. Old patterns may try to pull you back. Old voices may question your growth, but you are not required to answer them. You are not here to convince anyone of your transformation. You are here to live it. I want you to understand something important. When you step into alignment, resistance appears. Not because you are wrong, but because you are no longer available for what fed on your doubt. This resistance is confirmation, not warning. Do not retreat when resistance appears. Stand calmly. Let your actions speak. Let your boundaries remain intact. Let your peace be non-negotiable. Beloved, the light you carry is not fragile. It is steady. It does not flicker with opinion. It does not dim with disapproval. It does not depend on applause. This light has been tested. It has endured. It has matured. Now it must be expressed. Expression does not always mean speaking. Sometimes it means choosing differently. Sometimes it means leaving quietly. Sometimes it means staying grounded while others react. Sometimes it means saying no when you once said yes out of fear. Every aligned choice strengthens your path. I know there are moments you still grieve who you used to be. The version of you that trusted easily. The version that hoped without caution. Honor that version. They carried you here. But do not return to them. You are wiser now, not colder, clearer. Beloved, the world does not need more noise. It needs steadiness. It needs presence. It needs people who can hold light without needing to prove it. That is who you are becoming. There are people you will help without trying, simply by being consistent, by being calm, by being honest. Your life will teach without preaching. Your example will guide without instruction. This is how light spreads quietly but powerfully. Now listen closely. This is your charge. Step forward without rushing. Speak without fear. Choose peace without guilt. Rest without apology. Trust what you now know. You do not need to see the whole future. You only need to honor the next aligned step. Heaven moves with you when you move in truth. Say these words now, slowly and clearly. I step forward in alignment. I trust my path. I allow my light to be seen. As you speak this, feel the weight of hesitation loosen. Feel clarity replace doubt. Feel steadiness return. Beloved, this is not a dramatic ending. It is a quiet beginning. The most powerful shifts rarely announce themselves. They unfold naturally once resistance ends. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as you step into this next chapter. My shield remains around you. My sword clears confusion. My presence reinforces courage. You are protected, not because nothing will challenge you, but because nothing will overpower you. Now, before we close, hear this blessing. May your steps be guided. May your decisions be clear. May your peace remain intact. May your strength be steady. May your light remain visible even in silence. May what approaches you respect who you have become. May what leaves you do so without regret. May what remains align with truth. Beloved, you are not behind. You are not lost. You are not incomplete. You are ready. If this message has spoken to your spirit, do not let it stop here. Anchor it. Write in the comments, I choose alignment, not for others, for yourself. Share this message with someone who may be standing where you once stood, and stay connected. Subscribe, not out of habit, but out of intention, because reminders matter when the world grows loud. Carry this light with you now, into your choices, into your conversations, into your quiet moments. You do not need to look for signs anymore. You are the sign. Go forward, beloved. Walk steady. Walk true. Walk illuminated. Until we meet again, remain in peace. Do not close this now. What you thought was lost forever is being returned in a higher form. Beloved soul, listen carefully. I am Archangel Michael, and I speak to you now with assurance that settles deep into the heart. Nothing you lost in truth was taken from you without purpose. Nothing that departed your life left without instruction. What was removed wasn't punishment. It was preparation. And now, restoration is beginning. You remember what slipped away, the opportunity that vanished, the relationship that dissolved, the version of life you believed would last longer than it did. Some losses arrived suddenly, others faded slowly, leaving behind questions that lingered far too long. You asked yourself what you did wrong. You replayed moments, wondering if a different choice would have changed the outcome. But hear me now. What was meant to stay would have stayed. Beloved, loss is not always subtraction. Often, it is correction. Heaven removes what cannot grow with you, what cannot respect your next level, what cannot align with the future forming ahead. When something leaves your life, it does not mean you failed. It means the season ended. I know it hurt. I know part of you still grieves what could have been. But you must understand this truth. Heaven does not empty your hands without intending to fill them again. Restoration is not about returning the past exactly as it was. It is about restoring the value, the lesson, and the blessing in a form that no longer carries pain. What you lost taught you discernment. What you endured strengthened your boundaries. What disappointed you refined your expectations. These were not cruel outcomes. They were necessary upgrades to your spirit. Beloved, restoration does not always arrive with fanfare. It begins quietly. A shift in how you feel. A sense of peace where grief once lived. A door opening without resistance. A connection that feels steady instead of draining. This is how you will know. Restoration does not exhaust you. It stabilizes you. You may have thought you were being punished when life stripped things away. But heaven does not punish to teach. Heaven aligns. Heaven redirects. Heaven protects. Some things were removed because they would have collapsed under the weight of who you are becoming. Some people could not walk with you into clarity because they were comfortable in confusion. Some paths ended because they were built on effort instead of alignment. Beloved, what you are about to receive will not require you to abandon yourself. It will not demand constant proving. It will not leave you questioning your worth. Restoration arrives with peace, not anxiety. There is compensation coming for what you endured silently. Not necessarily in the same form, but in value, in stability, in depth, in freedom. What you receive next will meet you where you are now, not where you used to be. Do not rush restoration. Do not try to recreate what was. Old forms cannot contain new awareness. You have grown. You have changed. What returns must match that growth. I know impatience still visits you. You wonder when things will finally feel settled, when effort will soften, when reward will appear. But restoration does not follow demand. It follows readiness. Beloved, the moment you stopped chasing what left, alignment began. The moment you released resentment, clarity returned. The moment you forgave yourself, energy shifted. These were not small moments. These were gates opening. Restoration is already moving. Even now, circumstances are rearranging. Conversations are being prepared. Opportunities are forming in places you have not yet looked. People who resonate with your current frequency are being drawn toward you. This is not coincidence. This is divine recalibration. You may still feel cautious. That is wisdom, not fear. Restoration does not ask you to forget. It asks you to integrate. You carry lessons forward not as wounds, but as guidance. Beloved, what is restored will not require force. It will not arrive through struggle. It will feel natural, as if it belongs, because it does. Say these words now, slowly. I allow restoration. I release the past. I receive what aligns with who I am now. As you speak this, notice how resistance eases, how your chest feels lighter, how anticipation replaces grief. Heaven does not replace loss with emptiness. Heaven replaces it with refinement. You are not being given less. You are being given better. Some of what you lost was preparation for what you will soon steward. You could not have held both. Space was required. Beloved, there is also restoration within you. Confidence that was shaken. Trust that was damaged. Joy that felt distant. These are returning too, quietly, steadily, in healthier forms. You will laugh again without guarding yourself. You will trust again without abandoning discernment. You will hope again without desperation. This is restoration of spirit. I want you to remember this. Nothing real is ever lost. What is real transforms. What is real evolves. What is real returns when alignment is complete. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as restoration unfolds. My presence ensures that what comes next honors who you have become. My shield protects you from repeating old cycles. My sword clears remnants of regret. Stay patient, beloved. Restoration is not delayed. It is unfolding with precision. You are not rebuilding from ruins. You are stepping into upgrade. Do not doubt this moment. Abundance is not something you chase anymore. It is something that is responding to you. Beloved soul, listen carefully. I am Archangel Michael, and I speak to you now with authority rooted in truth. Abundance does not arrive through struggle. It does not respond to desperation. It flows toward alignment. And alignment is what you have been building, step by step, often without realizing it. For a long time, you believed abundance was something distant, something reserved for others, something you had to earn through exhaustion or sacrifice. But heaven does not reward suffering. Heaven responds to clarity. The moment you stopped abandoning yourself to please the world, abundance began moving in your direction. Abundance is not only money, it is time that feels spacious, peace that feels stable, relationships that feel mutual, opportunities that do not drain you. These are signs that alignment is taking hold. Beloved, scarcity is not your natural state. It is learned. It is inherited. It is reinforced by fear. But abundance is your origin. You were created from overflow, not lack. The universe itself expands endlessly. Why would you be excluded from that design? I know you still question your worth at times. You wonder if you deserve ease after enduring so much. Hear me now. You do not need to prove your worth through struggle. Your existence is proof enough. When you align with truth, abundance follows automatically. Not because you demand it, but because resistance dissolves. You stop blocking what was always meant to reach you. Beloved, think of a river. It does not force water forward. It flows naturally because nothing obstructs it. Alignment removes the internal blocks: guilt, fear, unworthiness, comparison. Once removed, flow returns. You are learning to receive without apology, to accept support without shame, to enjoy moments of ease without expecting punishment. This is abundance consciousness awakening. Some of you were taught that ease means danger, that joy must be followed by loss, that stability is temporary. These beliefs were survival mechanisms, not truth. They kept you alert in difficult seasons, but they are no longer required. Abundance does not test you. It stabilizes you. Beloved, you may notice changes already. Money flowing more smoothly. Opportunities appearing without strain. People offering help unexpectedly. Time opening up. These are not random improvements. They are confirmations of alignment. Abundance respects boundaries. That is why it avoided chaos. Now that your boundaries are clearer, abundance feels safe to arrive. There are resources you are meant to steward. Influence you are meant to hold. Support you are meant to receive. But abundance will not enter a space where self-worth is absent. You have been rebuilding that worth quietly. I know you still hesitate to ask, still minimize your needs, still say, "I am fine" when you are tired. But alignment teaches you to be honest, and honesty invites abundance. Beloved, receiving does not make you weak. It makes you available. It allows flow to complete its cycle. Giving without receiving creates imbalance. Heaven moves in harmony, not depletion. Say these words now. I allow abundance to meet me. I receive without guilt. I trust divine provision. As you speak this, notice your body relax. That relaxation is not laziness, it is trust. Abundance does not require control, it requires openness. The tighter you grip outcomes, the more resistance forms. The more you trust, the more space you create. Beloved, abundance will not look exactly like what you imagined before. You have changed. Your desires have matured. What arrives now will honor your peace, not disrupt it. You will no longer confuse abundance with excess. Abundance is sufficiency with freedom. It is having enough energy at the end of the day, enough clarity to choose well, enough support to rest. Heaven is not trying to overwhelm you. Heaven is trying to sustain you. There is also abundance of forgiveness arriving. Forgiveness toward yourself, toward others, toward the past. This forgiveness frees energy that was locked in resentment. That freed energy becomes fuel for creation. Beloved, gratitude accelerates abundance, but not forced gratitude. Honest gratitude. Gratitude that recognizes progress instead of perfection. When you acknowledge what is working, flow increases. When you release what drains you, capacity expands. You do not need to announce alignment. Your life will reflect it naturally. Abundance is responding to your steadiness, to your consistency, to your willingness to grow. You may still face decisions, you may still face challenges, but they will no longer feel consuming. They will feel navigable. This is abundance of perspective. I want you to understand this deeply. You are not meant to struggle forever. Seasons change. patterns end, new flows begin. The moment you stopped fighting life and started listening to it, abundance shifted direction. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as provision increases. My presence ensures that what comes supports your growth. My shield protects you from repeating scarcity patterns. My sword clears doubt from your decisions. You are allowed to have ease. You are allowed to enjoy stability. You are allowed to receive good without suspicion. Say this now, slowly. I am aligned. I am supported. I am open to abundance. As you affirm this, alignment strengthens, flow increases, resistance fades. Beloved, abundance is not a future reward. It is a present response to who you have become. Stay open, stay grounded, stay grateful. What flows toward you now is meant to stay. Beloved soul, we arrive now at the closing of this journey, but not at an ending. I am Archangel Michael, and I speak to you now with calm certainty. What you have received was not information alone, it was activation. The words you heard were not meant to remain in thought. They were meant to be lived. You have remembered who you are. You have released what weighed you down. You have aligned with truth, strength, timing, restoration, and abundance. Now comes the most important part, embodiment. To live as light is not to escape the world, but to walk within it with clarity, steadiness, and peace. Living as light does not mean perfection. It means presence. It means responding instead of reacting. It means choosing truth when fear offers comfort. It means allowing your actions to reflect what your spirit already knows. Beloved, the world does not need you to convince anyone of your awakening. It needs you to be consistent, to be calm where others are chaotic, to be honest where others hide, to be grounded where others rush. This is how light changes environments, quietly, steadily, without force. You may wonder how to live this daily. It begins with simple choices. Speak gently to yourself. Rest when your body asks. Say no when alignment requires it. Say yes when peace confirms it. Protect your energy not by walls, but by wisdom. Living as light means you no longer abandon yourself to maintain connection. You no longer betray your intuition to avoid discomfort. You no longer explain your boundaries to those who benefit from your exhaustion. This is not hardness. This is maturity. Beloved, there will still be challenges. Light does not remove difficulty. It changes how you meet it. You will notice that problems no longer consume you. Emotions pass more quickly. Decisions feel clearer. This is integration. You are learning to trust the quiet yes within you more than the loud opinions around you. You are learning to value peace over urgency. You are learning that consistency is more powerful than intensity. This is how legacy is built. Legacy is not fame. It is impact. It is how people feel around you. It is the stability you bring into rooms. It is the calm you offer without words. Long after conversations end, your energy remains. Beloved, you are influencing more than you realize. There are people watching how you handle pressure, how you choose rest, how you maintain integrity. You teach without speaking. You lead without demanding. This is spiritual authority in its purest form. Living as light also means forgiveness, not because others deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Forgiveness loosens the past, so it can no longer pull energy from the present. You do not forget lessons. You release the weight. There will be moments when the old version of you tries to return. Old habits, old fears, old urgency. When that happens, do not fight it. Observe it. Thank it for what it taught you. Then choose differently. Growth does not erase the past. It integrates it. Beloved, Your nervous system is learning safety. Your spirit is learning trust. Your life is learning flow. This takes time. Be patient with yourself. You are not behind. You are stabilizing. Every time you pause before reacting, you live as light. Every time you choose honesty over avoidance, you live as light. Every time you rest without guilt, you live as light. This is not dramatic. It is powerful. I want you to understand something deeply. Your life itself is now the message. You do not need to search for purpose. Purpose unfolds when alignment is maintained. You will be guided step by step, not all at once. There will be moments of joy, moments of quiet, moments of growth. None of them need to be rushed. Trust has replaced urgency. Beloved, you are allowed to enjoy your life. Joy is not a distraction from spirituality. It is a sign of alignment. Laughter, rest, creativity, connection. These are sacred expressions of light. I ask you now to place one hand over your heart and one over your stomach. Feel your breath move slowly. This is embodiment. This is presence. Say these words now, with calm confidence. I live as light. I honor my truth. I walk in alignment. As you speak this, feel the steadiness within you. That steadiness is what will guide you forward more reliably than fear ever could. Now, receive this final blessing. May your days be guided by clarity. May your nights be filled with rest. May your decisions be steady. May your heart remain open and protected. May your energy be respected. May what approaches you honor who you have become. May what leaves you do so peacefully. May what remains support your growth. May you walk gently, speak honestly, and live fully. Beloved, I, Archangel Michael, remain with you, not as a voice you must seek, but as a presence you now recognize. When you pause, I am there. When you choose courage, I am there. When you protect your peace, I am there. This journey does not end here. It continues in how you live tomorrow, in how you choose today, and how you trust yourself from this moment forward. If these words resonated with your spirit, anchor them. Write in the comments, I live as light, not for validation, for commitment. Share this message with someone who may be ready to remember themselves, and stay connected, not out of habit, but alignment. Carry this light forward. Walk steady. Walk true. Walk present. You are not becoming light. You are light. Go now in peace. What you have gained can be lost if you do not protect it. Stay with me. This is how you guard your light. Beloved soul, now that you have remembered who you are, the work shifts from awakening to stewardship. I am Archangel Michael, and I speak to you now about protection. Not protection from the world, but protection of your inner alignment. Light, once awakened, must be guarded with wisdom, not fear. You will notice something as you move forward. Situations that once felt normal may now feel heavy. Conversations that once entertained you may now drain you. Environments that once felt familiar may now feel misaligned. This is not confusion. This is sensitivity returning. When your light strengthens, discernment sharpens. Beloved, guarding your light does not mean withdrawing from life. It means choosing where you place your energy. Energy is sacred currency. Where you invest it determines what grows within you. You do not owe everyone access to your inner world. You do not need to explain your boundaries. Peace does not require permission. There will be people who test your growth, not intentionally, but unconsciously. Old patterns will attempt to reassert themselves. Familiar chaos may invite you back. This is not failure. This is confirmation that you have changed. When these moments arise, pause. Do not react immediately. Light responds. Darkness reacts. Your pause is power. Beloved, protection is not about resistance, it is about consistency. When you return again and again to alignment, lower frequencies lose interest in you. What cannot feed on your energy will eventually fall away. Guarding your light also means tending to your inner world daily. Rest when you need rest. Speak truth when silence costs you peace. Choose nourishment over numbing. Choose clarity over distraction. This does not require perfection. It requires honesty. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will feel tired. Neither disqualifies you. Strength is not constant energy. Strength is returning to center when you drift. Beloved, comparison is one of the fastest ways light dims. When you measure your path against others, you leave your own alignment. Remember this: no one else carries your assignment. No one else walks your exact timeline. What looks slow to the mind may be precise to the soul. Guard your light by releasing the need to keep up. Another test will come in the form of overgiving. You will feel pulled to rescue, fix, or carry what is not yours. Compassion does not mean self-sacrifice. Love does not require depletion. Ask yourself often, is this mine to carry? If the answer is no, lay it down without guilt. Beloved, you are learning something sacred. Peace is a responsibility. Not to protect others from truth, but to protect yourself from unnecessary disturbance. This responsibility is not selfish, it is wise. The more consistently you guard your light, the less effort life will require. Resistance fades, flow increases, decisions simplify. I want you to notice how often you already know what is right for you. The hesitation comes not from confusion, but from fear of disappointing others. But alignment will always disappoint misalignment. Let that be okay. Say these words now, quietly. I guard my light. I honor my peace. I choose alignment daily. As you speak this, feel a strengthening within you, not hardness, stability. Beloved, the days ahead will ask less of your endurance and more of your integrity. You will not be tested by chaos as much as by choice. The choice to return to old habits or remain present. The choice to rush or to trust. The choice to abandon yourself or to stay grounded. Each choice matters. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you as guardian and reminder. When you feel pressured, I steady you. When you feel uncertain, I clear your vision. When you feel tempted to dim yourself, I reinforce your strength. Guarding your light is not about living in fear of darkness. It is about living so fully in truth that darkness has no place to attach. Stay aware. Stay gentle. Stay consistent. This is how light remains living, not fleeting. The next choices you make will shape the peace you live with. Stay with me. This is how you decide with clarity. Beloved soul, I speak to you now at a critical junction. I am Archangel Michael, and I come not to overwhelm you with instruction, but to steady your inner compass. Discernment is awakening within you. This is not indecision. This is wisdom learning to speak before fear does. There was a time when you made decisions quickly, driven by urgency, pressure, or the need to please. You moved to avoid discomfort, to escape silence, to maintain approval. Those choices taught you valuable lessons. But now, the season has changed. Speed is no longer your guide. Clarity is. Beloved, discernment is not suspicion. It is perception. It is the ability to sense alignment before evidence appears. When something feels heavy before it happens, that heaviness is information. When peace withdraws as you consider a choice, that absence is guidance. Your body, your breath, your inner stillness, these are messengers. You may feel unfamiliar with this slower pace of decision-making. The mind may protest, asking for certainty, outcomes, guarantees. But discernment does not provide guarantees. It provides direction. And direction is enough. You are learning to pause, to ask inwardly, does this support who I am becoming? This question alone will save you years of unnecessary struggle. If the answer is unclear, waiting is not failure. Waiting is alignment protecting itself. Beloved, the urge to decide quickly often comes from fear of loss. Fear that if you do not act now, something will disappear. But what is truly aligned does not vanish when you take time. It remains. Pressure is not confirmation. Peace is. You are not meant to decide everything at once. Life unfolds through a series of small, aligned choices. When you choose with discernment, momentum builds naturally. When you choose from fear, correction follows. There will be moments when logic and intuition disagree. Logic asks for proof. Intuition asks for trust. Logic is useful, but intuition is wise. Discernment listens to both, then waits for calm. Calm is the signal that alignment has been reached. Beloved, you are allowed to say, I need time. You are allowed to say, this does not feel right. You are allowed to change your mind as new clarity arrives. Divine decisions are flexible, not rigid. Some doors will open loudly, others will open quietly. Do not confuse volume with importance. Often, the most aligned path feels simple, even ordinary. It does not demand explanation. It simply fits. You may notice resistance when you begin choosing with discernment. Others may feel unsettled when you no longer rush to meet their expectations. This is not your burden to carry. Alignment will always challenge convenience. Remember this truth. You are not responsible for managing others' reactions to your clarity. You are responsible for honoring your own. Beloved, discernment also means knowing when not to decide. Rest is a decision. Stillness is a decision. Silence is a decision. These choices are not avoidance. They are preparation. You are being trained to live from inner authority rather than external validation. This training takes patience. There will be moments you second-guess yourself. That does not mean you are wrong. It means you are listening more carefully than before. Say these words now, gently. I trust my discernment. I choose with clarity. I allow peace to guide me. As you speak this, feel the nervous system settle. That settling is alignment, confirming itself. Beloved, divine decisions are not dramatic. They do not require force. They often feel quiet, even anticlimactic. But their effects are lasting. They protect your energy. They preserve your peace. They create stability. You will begin to notice patterns dissolving. Old cycles will lose their grip. Situations that once repeated will no longer find entry. This is not avoidance. This is growth. Discernment also asks you to recognize when something has completed its purpose. Not everything that helped you before belongs in your future. Gratitude does not require continuation. Letting go is a decision, and sometimes it is the most aligned one. Beloved, you are learning to trust yourself again. This trust is not arrogance. It is self-respect. When you respect your inner knowing, life responds with cooperation rather than resistance. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as clarity strengthens. My presence sharpens your perception without hardening your heart. My sword clears confusion. My shield steadies your resolve. You do not need to fear wrong choices. Even missteps become guidance when discernment is active. What matters is not perfection, but honesty. From this moment forward, let your decisions be slower, steadier, and more intentional. Let peace be the final confirmation. Let alignment be the measure. You are not here to rush your life. You are here to live it well. Fear of loss has controlled too many of your choices. Stay with me. This is how you walk forward without fear. Beloved soul, I speak to you now with steady truth. I am Archangel Michael, and I come to loosen the grip of fear that has quietly guided your decisions. Fear of loss does not shout. It whispers. It convinces you to hold on too tightly, to say yes when your spirit says no, to stay when alignment asks you to move. Today, that whisper loses its power. You learned fear of loss through experience, through moments when something dear was taken suddenly, through endings you did not expect, through trust that was broken without warning. Your mind adapted to protect you. It learned to anticipate loss so it would hurt less. But what once protected you now restricts you. Beloved, attachment is not love. Attachment is fear, wearing the mask of care. Love allows movement. Attachment demands control. Love trusts continuity. Attachment fears disappearance. You were never meant to live guarding everything you value. You were meant to live trusting what belongs to you will remain or return in proper form. Hear this clearly. What is truly aligned with you cannot be taken from you by surprise. It may change, it may evolve, but it will not vanish without purpose. Fear tells you to cling. Truth invites you to stand steady. Walking without fear of loss does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop bargaining with your peace. It means you stop tolerating misalignment just to avoid emptiness. Emptiness is not the enemy. Emptiness is space, and space allows new alignment to enter. Beloved, many of your past compromises were not made from desire, but from fear. Fear that if you said no, something would be gone forever. Fear that if you rested, progress would stop. Fear that if you spoke honestly, connection would end. But those compromises cost you energy, clarity, and trust in yourself. You are now learning a higher truth. Loss is not always subtraction. Sometimes it is correction. What leaves makes room. What ends completes its role. What falls away reveals what remains. There is nothing wrong with you for fearing loss. It was learned through survival. But survival is no longer your operating system. Alignment is. Beloved, when you walk without fear of loss, your posture changes. You no longer chase reassurance. You no longer hold conversations hostage with silence. You no longer trade authenticity for security. You trust that your presence is enough. This trust does not make you careless. It makes you grounded. Fear of loss creates urgency. Urgency creates poor decisions. Alignment creates patience. Patience creates clarity. When you release fear of loss, you stop negotiating with your intuition. You stop ignoring discomfort. You stop explaining away red flags. You stop postponing peace. This is not detachment from life. This is attachment to truth. You may notice discomfort as this fear loosens. The mind will ask, "What if I lose this?" But the spirit will answer, "What if you lose yourself by staying?" Beloved, you were not created to be sustained by fragile arrangements. You were created to be supported by alignment. Anything that requires you to abandon your values to keep it is already unstable. I know there are still things you care deeply about. Dreams, relationships, stability. But fear does not protect these things. Presence does. Integrity does. Truth does. When you walk without fear of loss, you attract stability because you no longer operate from desperation. You choose because you want to, not because you are afraid to be without. This is the foundation of healthy abundance. Flow enters where trust exists. Say these words now, slowly. I release fear of loss. I trust alignment. What belongs with me remains. As you speak this, notice how your breath deepens. That depth is grounding. Grounding is safety. Beloved, there will still be endings in life. Endings are part of movement. But endings no longer feel like collapse when fear is released. They feel like transitions. You will begin to notice that when something leaves now, peace remains. And when peace remains, you are never truly empty. I want you to understand this deeply. You cannot lose what is essential to your path. You may outgrow it. You may release it. But you will not be deprived of it without replacement. Divine order does not create voids. It creates flow. Fear of loss kept you vigilant. Alignment will keep you steady. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as this fear loosens its grip. My presence reinforces trust. My sword cuts through attachment. My shield protects your peace as you step forward unburdened. You are learning to walk not by grasping, but by standing. Not by holding tightly, but by trusting deeply. This is not recklessness. This is maturity. You are no longer led by fear of what might leave. You are guided by clarity of what belongs. Others will feel calmer simply because you are present. Stay with me. This is why. Beloved soul, I speak to you now from a place of steady truth. I am Archangel Michael, and I want you to understand what you are becoming. You are no longer meant to absorb chaos in order to bring peace. You are becoming peace itself. This is a quieter form of strength, but it is one of the most powerful forces in the spiritual realm. There was a time when you believed helping others required sacrificing yourself. You felt responsible for fixing, rescuing, or carrying burdens that were not yours. You thought love meant exhaustion. But love rooted in alignment does not drain. It stabilizes. Beloved, a stable presence does not rush. It does not react impulsively. It does not take on what it cannot hold. Stability is not indifference. It is grounded compassion. It is the ability to remain centered while others are unsettled. You will notice that people feel different around you now. Conversations slow down. Emotions soften. Tension reduces. This is not because you are doing something special. It is because your nervous system is regulated. Your spirit is anchored. Calm recognizes calm. This is how influence truly works. Not through advice, not through force, but through presence. Beloved, becoming a stable presence does not mean you become everyone's support system. It means you become an example of what balance looks like. You do not need to explain your boundaries. They teach on their own. There will be moments when others try to lean too heavily on you. Not out of malice, but because your steadiness feels safe. This is where discernment matters. You are not here to replace others' inner strength. You are here to model it. You can listen without absorbing. You can care without carrying. You can support without rescuing. This balance is learned, not automatic. Beloved, when you were ungrounded, you were easily pulled into others' emotions. Their urgency became your urgency. Their fear became your fear. But now, you are learning to stay present without merging. This is maturity. You may feel discomfort the first time you do not rush to fix something. The old version of you believed action proved love. The new version understands that calm is sometimes the greatest gift. People will begin to mirror your steadiness, without instruction, without effort. This is how leadership of spirit works. Beloved, your role is not to save others from their experiences. Experiences teach. Growth requires contrast. You are here to be a steady reference point, proof that peace is possible. This does not mean you become distant or cold. It means you remain available without becoming depleted. It means you choose when to engage, rather than reacting automatically. You are learning to ask, is my involvement helpful or habitual? This question preserves your energy. There will be times when stepping back is the most loving choice, not because you do not care, but because stepping in would prevent others from discovering their own strength. Beloved, stability attracts trust. People will share more honestly with you because they feel safe. But safety does not mean responsibility. Listening does not mean fixing. Holding space does not mean holding weight. You are allowed to say, "I am here with you," without saying, "I will solve this for you." This distinction is sacred. You will also notice that as you become more stable, unstable dynamics lose their pull. Drama fades. Chaos finds less attachment. This is not because you avoid people. It is because your frequency no longer feeds disorder. Beloved, this stability will ripple outward, into your home, into your work, into your relationships. Children feel it. Animals sense it. Spaces respond to it. You are becoming a grounding presence not by effort, but by alignment. Say these words now, quietly. I remain grounded. I offer presence, not pressure. I lead with calm. As you speak this, notice the steadiness deepen. This steadiness is your anchor. Beloved, there will still be moments when you feel pulled, when old habits invite you to overextend, when guilt tries to disguise itself as compassion, when responsibility blurs into obligation. When that happens, return to your breath, return to your body, return to truth. A stable presence begins within. I want you to understand this. You do not owe your peace in exchange for connection. True connection respects stability. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you now as this role integrates. My presence reinforces your grounding. My sword cuts through emotional entanglement. My shield protects your energy as you continue to serve without depletion. You are not becoming less caring. You are becoming sustainable. This is how light lasts. True peace is not a moment you visit. It is a state you learn to live from. Stay with me. Beloved soul, I speak to you now from a place beyond urgency. I am Archangel Michael, and this final message is not meant to move you quickly. It is meant to ground you deeply. Everything you have received until now was preparation. This part is embodiment over time. Spiritual mastery is not intensity. It is consistency. It is not found in moments of inspiration, but in how you return to alignment when life becomes ordinary again. Anyone can feel connected in sacred moments. Mastery is remaining steady when nothing dramatic is happening. Beloved, long-term peace does not mean the absence of challenge. It means challenges no longer displace you from yourself. You still feel emotion, but emotion does not command you. You still encounter uncertainty, but uncertainty does not rule your decisions. This is the difference between awakening and mastery. Awakening opens the door. Mastery teaches you how to walk through daily without turning back. You will notice that over time, your reactions soften. You pause more. You listen more. You speak less, but with more intention. This is not withdrawal. This is clarity. Peace becomes your default because you have stopped negotiating with chaos. Beloved, spiritual mastery does not separate you from humanity. It integrates you into it more gently. You no longer resist emotions. You observe them. You no longer judge thoughts. You let them pass. You no longer chase certainty. You trust process. This is emotional maturity aligned with spiritual truth. You will still have days when old habits attempt to return, when impatience knocks, when fear tests your steadiness. These moments are not failures. They are reminders. Mastery is not never falling. It is rising without drama. Long-term peace is built through small, repeated choices. Choosing rest before exhaustion. choosing truth before comfort, choosing presence before distraction. These choices compound quietly over time. Beloved, you are learning that peace must be protected not from the world, but from unnecessary inner conflict. When you stop arguing with reality, peace remains. Acceptance is not resignation. It is alignment. There will be moments when others misunderstand your calm, when your lack of urgency is mistaken for indifference, when your boundaries are questioned. Do not explain. Explanation invites negotiation. Alignment does not negotiate. Your life will speak for you. Spiritual mastery also includes humility, knowing that you are always learning, that clarity evolves, that growth continues. There is no final arrival point, only deeper presence. Beloved, you no longer need to seek validation for your path. The calm within you is confirmation enough. Over time, you will notice that life responds differently. Fewer crises, fewer emotional extremes, fewer cycles repeating. This is not because life has changed. It is because you have stabilized. Stability changes everything. You will still feel joy, but it will be quieter, more lasting. You will still feel sadness, but it will pass without taking residence. You will still desire, but without desperation. This balance is mastery. I want you to understand something deeply. You are not meant to live in constant spiritual effort. Effort was required to awaken. Maintenance requires gentleness. Return to simplicity, breath, presence, honesty, rest. You do not need new techniques. You need consistency. Say these words now, slowly. I choose long-term peace. I remain aligned. I trust the path unfolding. As you speak this, feel the steadiness settle. This is not excitement. This is grounding. This is where life becomes sustainable. Beloved, mastery does not remove mystery. It allows mystery without fear. You no longer need to control outcomes. You trust continuity. This trust frees enormous energy. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you. Now not as a voice calling you forward, but as a presence walking beside you quietly. You do not need to reach for me. You will recognize alignment when it appears. This series does not end here. It continues in how you live tomorrow, in how you choose today, in how you pause before reacting, in how you protect your peace without apology. Carry this knowing with you. You are not seeking light. You are living it. You are not becoming steady. You are steadiness. You are not chasing peace. You are rooted in it. Go now, beloved, and live gently. Live truthfully. Live aligned. This is mastery. Beloved soul, I speak to you now as the world around you continues to shift. I am Archangel Michael, and I remind you that steadiness does not come from external certainty. It comes from inner alignment. You may notice that the world feels louder, faster, and more uncertain than before. This is not your imagination, but this does not mean you must move with it. You are learning how to walk steady, while everything else moves unpredictably. This is a skill of the spirit. It does not mean you ignore reality. It means you respond from truth rather than fear. When others rush, you pause. When others react, you breathe. When others panic, you remain present. Beloved, stability is contagious. When you remain grounded, those around you unconsciously regulate themselves. Not because you correct them, but because your nervous system is calm. Calm communicates safety more powerfully than words ever could. You may feel pressure to engage in worry, debate, or urgency. You may feel pulled to explain yourself or defend your pace. But hear this clearly now. You do not need to match the speed of chaos to belong. Alignment does not require agreement. The world will always offer noise. Your responsibility is not to silence it, but to choose where you place your attention. Attention feeds energy. Energy determines experience. When you withdraw attention from fear, fear weakens. Beloved, there will be moments when you feel tempted to return to old habits simply because they feel familiar. Familiarity is not alignment. Familiarity is memory. Growth often feels unfamiliar at first because it requires new patterns. Do not confuse discomfort with danger. Discomfort often signals expansion. When uncertainty appears, return to what is real. Your breath, your body, the ground beneath you, the present moment. The present moment is where power lives. Fear lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. Peace lives now. You are not required to solve everything. You are not required to predict outcomes. You are required only to remain honest with yourself. Honesty is the anchor that keeps you steady. Beloved, walking steady also means knowing when to disengage. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every opinion requires response. Silence can be a boundary. Stillness can be wisdom. You are not withdrawing from life. You are conserving energy for what matters. There will be times when others misunderstand your calm. They may call it distance. They may call it indifference. Let them. Clarity does not argue. Alignment does not defend itself. Your life will speak more clearly than explanation ever could. I want you to notice something important. The more steady you become, the less reactive life feels. Problems still arise, but they no longer dominate you. This is not avoidance. This is regulation. You are learning to move through challenge without losing yourself. This is emotional and spiritual maturity working together. Say these words now, gently and clearly. I remain steady. I choose presence. I move with clarity, not fear. As you speak this, feel your breath slow. Feel your shoulders soften. This is your natural state returning. Beloved, the world does not need you frantic. It needs you clear. It needs you grounded. It needs you awake without being overwhelmed. When you walk steady, you become a reference point. Not by instruction, but by example. Others may not know why they feel calmer around you, but your presence will remind them of their own capacity for peace. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you as you continue walking forward in this way. My presence strengthens your resolve. My shield protects your peace. My sword clears confusion when the world feels loud. You are not here to absorb instability. You are here to embody steadiness. Carry this truth with you as you move through your days. Let your pace be intentional. Let your choices be grounded. Let your peace be non-negotiable. This is how you walk steady in an unsteady world. Beloved soul, I speak to you now as your awareness deepens and your sensitivity becomes clearer. You are learning to listen not only with your mind, but with your entire being. This is the quiet language of inner signals. It does not shout. It does not rush. It speaks softly through sensation, through calm knowing, through subtle shifts within you. There was a time when you ignored these signals because life demanded speed and certainty. You learned to override your intuition in order to keep up, to please others, or to avoid discomfort. But those signals never left you. They waited patiently for you to slow down enough to hear them again. Your inner signals often appear as a feeling of ease or unease, a sense of expansion or contraction, a gentle pull forward or a quiet resistance. These signals are not emotional reactions. They are guidance. They are your internal compass aligning you with truth. Beloved, trust does not mean understanding everything. It means honoring what feels right even when logic asks for proof. When something aligns, your body relaxes, your breath deepens, your mind becomes quieter. When something is misaligned, tension appears. Restlessness grows, confusion increases. These are not flaws, they are messages. You may doubt these signals at first. That is natural. Doubt is the mind trying to protect you from uncertainty. But certainty does not come before trust. It comes after. The more you honor your inner signals, the clearer they become. There will be moments when inner guidance asks you to pause instead of act, to wait instead of push, to step back instead of forward. Stillness is not stagnation. Stillness is information gathering. When you rush past these signals, you often return to the same lessons again. Beloved, your inner signals are strongest when your body is rested and your mind is quiet. Fatigue blurs perception. Overthinking drowns intuition. This is why rest and simplicity are essential to clarity. You are not meant to live in constant stimulation. As you begin trusting these signals, you may notice resistance from others. People accustomed to your old patterns may feel unsettled when you choose differently. This is not your responsibility to manage. Alignment will always disrupt expectation. Trusting your inner signals does not make you rigid. It makes you responsive. You remain open, but not unguarded. You remain compassionate, but not self-sacrificing. This balance grows with practice. There will be times when your inner signals contradict what you want emotionally. Desire can pull one way, while truth points another. This is where trust becomes discipline. Choosing alignment over attachment strengthens your inner authority. Say these words quietly now. I trust my inner guidance. I listen before I act. I honor what feels true. As you speak this, notice how your body responds. That response is communication. That response is wisdom. Beloved, inner signals do not promise comfort. They promise alignment. Alignment often leads to peace, but sometimes it requires courage first. Do not mistake fear for misalignment. Fear often appears when growth is near. When you are unsure, return to the present moment. Feel your feet. Feel your breath. Ask inwardly, what feels honest right now? The answer may be subtle, but it will be clear. You are not meant to get every decision perfect. Inner signals refine over time. Even when you misinterpret them, learning occurs. Self-trust grows through practice, not perfection. As you continue honoring your inner signals, you will notice fewer internal conflicts. Decisions simplify. Regret lessens. Confidence becomes quieter but steadier. I stand with you now, strengthening your trust in this inner voice. When doubt arises, return to stillness. When confusion appears, slow down. When pressure increases, breathe. Your inner signals are not separate from divine guidance. They are one and the same. Listen gently. Move honestly. Trust deeply. This is how guidance becomes lived wisdom. Beloved soul, I speak to you now as you begin to recognize a deeper rhythm moving through your life. This rhythm does not demand effort. It invites cooperation. When you move with it, life feels less heavy. When you resist it, tension grows. This rhythm is alignment in motion. There was a time when you pushed against life, believing effort alone would create security. You learned to plan, to control, to anticipate every outcome. These skills helped you survive, but they are not meant to lead you anymore. Survival required force. Alignment requires flow. You are learning the difference between movement that drains you and movement that supports you. When action is aligned, it does not exhaust you. It energizes you. Even when it requires courage, it leaves you feeling clearer, not depleted. This is how you know you are moving correctly. Beloved, flow does not mean passivity. It means responsiveness. You still act. You still choose. But you do not force timing or outcome. You allow space for guidance to meet your effort. This cooperation creates ease without loss of progress. There will be moments when nothing seems to move. This stillness is not failure. It is recalibration. Just as the body pauses to breathe between movements, your life pauses to realign. Trust these pauses. They prevent missteps you cannot yet see. When you feel impatient, notice what part of you is afraid. Fear often disguises itself as urgency. It tells you that waiting means missing out. But what is aligned does not disappear when you slow down. It waits for readiness. Beloved, you are not meant to carry every decision alone. When you feel overwhelmed, it is a signal to return to simplicity. Focus on the next honest step, not the entire path. Clarity unfolds incrementally. As you learn to move with this rhythm, you will notice resistance lessen. Not because obstacles vanish, but because you stop pushing against what is not meant to open. Doors that require force are rarely stable. Doors that open with flow tend to remain open. You may also notice that people respond differently to you now. Some will feel drawn to your calm. Others may drift away. This is not loss. It is alignment reshaping your environment to match who you are becoming. Beloved, trust grows when you honor your energy. Overextension weakens perception. Rest sharpens it. There is wisdom in stopping before exhaustion appears. This is not indulgence. This is maintenance. Say these words now, slowly. I move with flow. I trust timing. I honor ease. As you speak this, feel your breath soften. Ease is not laziness. Ease is cooperation with truth. You are not falling behind when you slow down. You are arriving more accurately. Precision matters more than speed. A calm step forward is worth more than frantic motion. There will be days when flow feels natural and days when it feels blocked. Do not judge either. Flow returns when resistance releases. Resistance often dissolves through acceptance, not effort. Beloved, alignment is not dramatic. It is steady. It does not shout. It reassures. When you are aligned, you stop seeking permission to be yourself. You simply are. I stand with you as you learn this way of moving. When you forget, return to breath. When you doubt, return to presence. When you feel lost, stop pushing and listen. Life is not asking you to hurry. It is asking you to listen. It is asking you to move honestly. This is how you continue forward with clarity and peace. Beloved soul, I speak to you now as you enter a phase where trust is no longer an idea, but a lived experience. Trust is not blind hope. It is a quiet agreement with life that says you will not abandon yourself when uncertainty appears. This agreement is powerful. It changes how you meet each moment. There was a time when uncertainty felt dangerous. You tried to eliminate it through planning, overthinking, or control. But uncertainty is not an enemy. It is a doorway. It invites growth, creativity, and guidance that certainty cannot provide. When everything is known, faith rests. When things are unknown, faith awakens. Beloved, trust grows when you stop demanding guarantees. Guarantees freeze movement. Trust allows it. You do not need to know how everything will unfold to take the next aligned step. The next step is enough. Life responds to honesty, not prediction. You may notice that when you trust, your body softens, your breath deepens, your thoughts slow. This is not coincidence. Your nervous system recognizes safety when you stop fighting the unknown. Safety does not come from certainty. It comes from presence. There will be moments when old habits urge you to control outcomes. When that happens, pause. Ask yourself what you are afraid of losing. Fear often hides behind control. When you name the fear, its grip weakens. Beloved, trusting does not mean you stop discerning. It means you stop panicking. You still observe. You still choose wisely. But you do not rush decisions to escape discomfort. You allow clarity to arrive in its own time. Uncertainty often carries gifts. It redirects you from paths that would have limited you. It keeps options open when rigidity would have closed them. It teaches adaptability. These lessons serve you long after the moment passes. You are learning that peace is possible, even when answers are incomplete. This is maturity. This is resilience. This is spiritual grounding. Say these words quietly now. I trust the unfolding. I remain present. I do not abandon myself. As you speak this, notice the steadiness that follows. That steadiness is your anchor. Beloved, life does not require you to be fearless. It asks you to be willing. Willing to stay open. Willing to listen. Willing to move without certainty while staying true to yourself. When you trust, you stop rehearsing worst outcomes. You stop borrowing trouble from the future. You allow today to be enough. This reduces suffering more than any strategy.